We've seen that if we try to provide public goods on our own, we face the free rider problem. Each of us tries to free ride on the contributions of others and contributes only to the point where marginal cost is equal to our private marginal benefit. It's a classic positive externalities problem, where we're not taking into account the benefits our contributions create for others. As a result, we end up in a prisoner's dilemma, where each of us would be better off if we all cooperated and produced the efficient quantity of the public good. But we can't sustain that cooperation because of the free rider incentives. So now let's turn to thinking about whether a firm could produce public goods. So imagine a firm owns a large piece of land, and it's going to set off some fireworks on that piece of land. And the land is so large that the only way to see the fireworks is to be on that piece of land. So that firm can charge an entrance fee to people who want to see the fireworks. And those who come and see the fireworks, those who end up on the land, are going to consume the same quantity of fireworks. The fireworks on the land are non-rivalrous. We can all look at the sky and see the same fireworks. But in order for this to be the efficient quantity of fireworks, it would have to be that everybody actually chooses that as the quantity they would want. And if people have different tastes, that would mean we'd have to charge them different prices in order for them to choose that same quantity. That's exactly the reverse of the role of prices and quantities in private goods markets. So when we think about private goods, we think of markets where there's a single price, so everybody faces the same price, and then people just choose different quantities. So if we go to the store to buy milk, we face the same price for milk, but we buy different quantities because we have different tastes and different economic circumstances. So in public goods markets, everybody ends up consuming the same quantity, and in order for that to be efficient, they'd have to be charged different prices. Whereas in private goods markets, everyone faces the same price, and then they choose different quantities. So why is that an issue? Well, suppose that I'm the only customer who comes to the gate of this piece of land to see the fireworks, and I get asked the question, how much do you actually like fireworks? Then I know that my answer is going to determine how big the fireworks display is going to be, and it's going to determine how much I'm going to have to pay. But since I'm the only one, I'm capturing all the benefits and paying all the costs. So I have an incentive to tell the truth about my preferences. Now suppose that there are two of us who show up at the gate. Then I know when I answer the question, how much do you like fireworks, it's going to have some impact on how big the fireworks display is going to be. But it's not going to be the only thing that has an impact, because the other person's answer is going to matter as well. So I have a more limited impact on the size of the fireworks display, but I face the full impact in terms of the price I'm going to get charged. My answer is going to determine how much I'm going to get charged. So now I have an incentive to underreport how much I like the fireworks. I have an incentive to lie about how much I like the fireworks. Now I'm not going to lie completely, because my answer still contributes to how large the fireworks display is going to be, but I'm going to underreport how much I like fireworks, and so are you. Now imagine that there are 10,000 of us who show up at the gate. Now my contribution to how big the fireworks is going to be very small. How big the firework display is going to be is going to get determined by the answers from 10,000 different people. But I'm still going to be charged a price based on my answer. So now my incentive to lie has gotten much bigger. So as the number of people in the public goods situation increases, the incentive to lie about our preferences, when we are going to get charged a price that depends on what we answer, increases dramatically. That's exactly the opposite of what happens in private goods markets. Suppose there are only two of us in a private goods market. I come, you have some milk, I want to buy some milk. Well, now there isn't a single price that's been determined in the market. we can negotiate about the price. And I have some incentive to lie to get a better negotiating positions. So I have some incentive to lie. But as the number of people in the market increases, my bargaining power decreases to the point where we end up in a competitive market where I have no power over the price at all. Once I have no power over the price, I have no incentive to lie. I'll simply buy the quantity that's best for me given that price. It hasn't even occurred to anyone to go into a supermarket and call the manager and say, I really don't like milk that much. Can you give me a better price for milk? You don't have any bargaining power. So as the number of people in the private good markets increases, the incentive to lie diminishes and goes away. So again, exactly the opposite from the public goods market. So the firm's going to have a difficult time ascertaining how much people actually are willing to pay for fireworks, because the more people show up, the more of an incentive there is for each of them to lie about how much they're willing to pay. And the government that tries to provide public goods faces exactly the same problem. It doesn't know what people's preferences are for the public good. It needs to know what those are, what people's marginal willingness to pay is, in order to figure out the efficient quantity of the public good. But if it just asks people, and if people think what they have to pay depends on their answer, they have this huge incentive to lie that increases with the number of people involved. So whether it's a firm or whether it's a government, there's this incentive that people have to misrepresent their tastes when what they have to pay is connected to how much they say they like the public good.